Okay, students, I want to talk to you just a little bit now about how we're going to evaluate the business plan presentations. As you recall, each team is required to submit a business plan and a PowerPoint presentation that goes along with that business plan at the end of the semester. If you look at your course plan that's been uploaded to Doc Sharing, if you don't have a hard copy of it, then you can see when those are due. Now, here is the form that I use to evaluate the business plan presentation material. And what I'll do is I'll take a form just like this and I'll begin to fill out some things on it. There's a couple of areas where I'm going to show you that we will change just a little bit, but this is the same form that I use for the face-to-face class, and I would like to the extent we can, grade you guys on the same standards that I grade the face-to-face classes regarding their presentations. So the first thing I'll do is I'll put the name of your business right here, and then, in fact, let's go down to the next chart right here and I'll show you how that looks. So I put in the name of your business and I put the team members' names across the bottom here. So I'll write in your names right across there, and I'll put your team number, and I'll put my name in right here, and your company name, I think I said that a moment ago, right there. And now I'm all set to begin to do the evaluation. Now I want you to notice that how we're evaluating the presentation: by mission statement, company overview, product service description, marketing plan, management plan, operations plan, so forth. And you can see now that maybe that's a good way to organize your presentation. If I'm getting ready to have my presentation graded, and I know it's going to be graded according to this set of topics right here, then I'm going to organize my presentation around this set of topics. So this is a kind of a clue to you to do that. Structure your presentation around this set of topics, which is basically your outline for your business plan. Now, one thing I want to point out to you, that this idea on professional attire, since you're entirely online, I will not see you, so you guys will automatically get a complete 5 across there for that. Now let's talk about this scoring just for a little bit. Notice here that I've got the maximum number of points for each topical area, and for all of the content items of the business plan, that totals a grand total of 80 points. Then I've got 4 areas that are a little bit different than the content areas. I have the professional attire, the effectiveness, the style and visual aids of any handouts you might have, and then the speaker balance. Well, on 2 of these, I can't really evaluate them very well, so I just give you automatically get a perfect 5 here and a perfect 5 right here, because I'm assuming that if you were going to give this in a stand-up face-to-face, then you would have a balance between the members of your team and their presentations. So in this section right here, I will only be grading the effectiveness section and the style and visual aids handout section for you guys, which basically would be your PowerPoint charts that I'll be evaluating. Okay, so we have 2 sections. We have the business plan section at the top, that's this section right here, and we have the presentation section at the bottom, that's this section right here. And if I add up all these scores here, if they were perfect, you would receive 100. So what I do then is I look at your presentation, I evaluate that by different things, and I'll show you what those different things are in just a moment. I evaluate them, I assign points, I add those points up, and that becomes the grade that you get for your business plan presentation. Now go down to the bottom of the chart right here. You see this little table. It says presentation rating levels. If you have a 15-point category, this would be a 15-point category right here, product, service, and description, and you do a really good job of presenting that section, then you would get an E, G, F, or P in your grade. If you do a good job, you get an E. If you do a not so good job, you get a G, and so forth down. Let's say that this team here gets an E in their presentations and for the 15-point section. And so you'll award them 13, 14, or 15 points. If it's really good, you give them a full 15 points. If it's not, you give them 13 points. If it's a 10-point section, you give them a full 10 points. And if it's a 5-point section, you give them a full 5 points. So this is the way that you translate your grade into points for this presentation. So let's say I have a 15-point product service description. I look at that portion of the presentation. It impresses me a lot, but it's not quite at the excellent level, but at the good level. But it's at the top of the good level. So I would give you 12 points right here for that portion of your business plan. And so now you can see I begin to add all these things up. I assign scores for each one as I look at it. I add all these things up. You get 10 points here automatically free of charge. And I look at the design style of the handout, of the visual aids, the slides. And then what I think the effectiveness could be, and I assign you those grades, I add all of those up. That becomes your grade for the business plan. So let's go through here, and I'll show you how we would do it if we were doing it in a live presentation. If this case here, we've got Perry Riggs is the student's name. Perry is presenting the mission statement and the company overview, and he did a really good job on the mission statement, which that translates to 5 points. This is E for excellence. He did a good job on the company overview. That's the G right there. And so I would assign him points here. Well, how many points would you assign? Well, let's go down here. This is a 10-point section, and he did a G, so I can assign him either 8 or 9 or 8.5 points. 8, 8.5, or 9 points based upon the G that he got for that. So it then becomes the evaluator's choice as to what that should be. So I go through each section like this. In a live face-to-face presentation, each member of the team would be presenting. And you can see here that Ben Lawson presented the marketing plan, and he presented the product service description, the management plan, and the operations plan. His quality of his presentation wasn't all that great. You can see that it's just kind of muddling along here. He even got an F on the management plan. And here I made some notes out here. Not enough detail. Up here on the company overview, what's the structure? By that, the business structure of the company, and so forth. And then I go down here, professional attire. You guys will get all 5s there. On effectiveness, I will then decide what the effectiveness is on a scale of 1 to 5, and assign you that with explanatory notes on the right-hand side. And then I'll look at the style and visual aids of the PowerPoints that we used, and assign a grade there. And then on speaker balance, you'll get a 5 for that. Okay, so that's the way we will evaluate your presentation. So let's go on into chart number 5. You can see here now that I'm translating these scores here to points, and I add these points up here. And for this section here, this J.C. Lately gets 68.5 points, and then I go down to the second section. They get a total here of, add those up right there, you get about, 5 and 12 would be 17, and 1.3, so it'd be 18.3. And so I add the 18.3 to the 68.5, and I get 86.8, and that becomes a total score for your business plan presentation. So this is exactly the way I'll do it on the presentations that you submit a little bit later on, and this is how you'll get your score as I look through those presentations. If you have some questions on this, be sure and submit them to me. I'll be glad to try to address them. But basically, as a simple little form that I fill out, I'll have a record of each team's presentation, and I'll fill out that form and try to electronically file it with your presentation. So this concludes that part of our presentation. That part of this unit, and how do we evaluate the business plan presentation when it's submitted.